Peanut butter, a comfort food, a childhood favorite, something so innocent until 2022 when America's most trusted brand turned into a silent predator. What was hiding inside those red label jars wasn't sweetness, it was sickness, a microscopic killer waiting in your pantry. This is the chilling story of the Jif Salmonella recall that shook the nation. It began quietly. A handful of people across the country started falling ill. Symptoms at first seemed ordinary: nausea, fever, cramping. But doctors recognized the telltale signs: Salmonella, a bacteria capable of turning a snack into a serious risk, especially for vulnerable groups. By May 2022, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention had confirmed multiple cases across states, all linked back to a single source: Jif peanut butter, produced in a Lexington, Kentucky plant owned by the J.M. Smucker Company. To understand the terror, you need to understand the enemy. Salmonella isn't just food poisoning, it's invasive. Once ingested, it attacks the intestines, causing severe diarrhea, dehydration, and in the vulnerable, the very young, the elderly, and the immunocompromised, it can become deadly. Imagine feeding your child a spoonful of peanut butter and unknowingly delivering bacteria that thrives in the gut, causing severe stomach pain, dehydration, and in some cases, hospitalization. That was the nightmare families faced in 2022. When Jif announced the voluntary recall, it wasn't just a few jars. It was tens of thousands of products, spanning smooth, crunchy to-go packs and squeeze pouches. Supermarkets scrambled, convenience stores cleared shelves, and yet it was already too late. Peanut butter doesn't spoil quickly. It was sitting in pantries, cupboards, and lunchboxes across America, waiting. Over a dozen brands and snacks were pulled as well. Crackers, candies, desserts, all using Jif as an ingredient. The contamination had spread like a virus into every aisle of the grocery store. Major outlets ran with chilling headlines: Jif recall expands nationwide. Consumers were told to check their pantries immediately. The recall number itself became infamous. Entire households rifled through cupboards, staring at labels, realizing the food they trusted most had become poisonous. Phones rang at poison control centers, parents panicked. Fear was spreading faster than the infection itself. In all, 21 confirmed illnesses were reported across 17 states. 4 people were hospitalized. Behind those numbers were families blindsided, children crying in hospital beds, elderly victims too weak to fight. Each bite was a gamble. While the outbreak didn't kill, it exposed how fragile trust in food safety really is. A single jar of peanut butter became a nationwide threat. The investigation that followed was detailed and methodical. When the first illnesses were traced back to peanut butter, federal health officials began assembling the evidence. Each case was mapped, each purchase reviewed, and a pattern soon became clear. The source was not scattered across different suppliers. It pointed directly to one facility: J.M. Smucker's Lexington, Kentucky plant. This was one of the most important factories in Jif's network, producing jars that ended up in homes across the United States. If there was a problem here, the impact would be widespread. The Food and Drug Administration sent inspectors into the plant. They swabbed equipment, sampled surfaces, and reviewed sanitation procedures. What they found confirmed the fears. The same strain of salmonella linked to consumers was present in the plant environment. It wasn't speculation, it was real, and it had moved through the production line. The company had received warnings before. Past reviews had flagged areas for improvement, but they had not escalated to emergency levels. Now, with evidence in hand, it was clear that even small lapses could have big consequences. The response was sweeping. Jif recalled a wide range of products across every variety: smooth, crunchy to-go packs, squeezable pouches. None were safe from the precaution. It was the only option. But for families who already had those jars in their pantries, the realization came too late. The investigation revealed not only a contamination, but a system where everyday food safety could be shaken overnight. The official illness count was limited, just over 20 people across multiple states, but the public reaction was much larger. That's because the story wasn't just about numbers, it was about confidence. Peanut butter is not a food people expect to question. It's not prepared raw, it doesn't carry obvious risks, and it has long been seen as a dependable staple. Families trusted enough to serve it to children without hesitation. That image of reliability is what made the 2022 recall so unsettling. Once the recall notice spread, households across America began checking lot codes. Parents picked up jars from their shelves and compared numbers they had never paid attention to before. Some matched the recall list, and the decision was immediate: throw it out. Others simply didn't want to take the chance. Even jars that weren't part of the recall ended up in the trash. On social platforms, people shared photos of discarded jars, posting warnings to friends and family. Some declared they wouldn't buy Jif again. Others questioned peanut butter as a whole, switching to alternatives or avoiding the product entirely. The real impact was not just on sales, but on trust. A simple food that had symbolized comfort was now surrounded by doubt. Even for those who had never been sick, the thought lingered. What if? That hesitation, however brief, showed just how deep the fear had spread. The aftermath was swift. J.M. Smucker issued a massive recall, not only of Jif jars, but of any food products that had used Jif as an ingredient. Crackers, desserts, snack packs, all were removed from shelves. Distribution lines were disrupted and stores scrambled to fill the empty spaces. The company faced lawsuits from affected families and a significant financial hit. But beyond the money, the reputation damage was clear. Jif had been one of the most recognized names in peanut butter for generations. Now, its image was tied to an outbreak. Consumers reacted in different ways. Some shifted permanently to other brands. Others returned after a few months, but not without second thoughts. Sales data revealed dips that reflected more than just a temporary shortage. They reflected hesitation. Even after the recall was over, the memory remained. People didn't forget having to search their pantries, or the anxiety of wondering if a food so common could really be unsafe. Companies can sanitize machinery and restart production, but rebuilding consumer trust is slower, harder, and far less predictable. That was the true cost of the recall. Not only jars of peanut butter, but years of loyalty and confidence shaken. The Jif recall carried lessons that went beyond peanut butter. It showed just how delicate modern food safety can be. With today's global supply chains, a single plant can provide products for millions of households. That efficiency is what makes food so widely available, but it also means that when problems occur, they spread far and wide. Recalls have become more common in recent decades. From leafy greens linked to E. coli, to poultry connected to listeria, to onions recalled for salmonella, consumers have seen repeated warnings to check refrigerators and pantries. Each one serves as a reminder that even everyday foods can carry risks. What made the Jif incident stand out was the type of product involved. Peanut butter is shelf-stable, processed, and sealed. It isn't something people worry about spoiling quickly. To see it on recall lists challenged expectations in a way that left many unsettled. The broader question remains: how do companies and regulators keep pace with these challenges? Inspections can only catch so much. Contamination can happen silently. And in a world where products move quickly across states and countries, detection often lags behind distribution. The recall was, in many ways, a warning. Food systems depend on trust. Once that trust is tested, it takes years to rebuild. And in 2022, a simple jar of peanut butter reminded the world that no product, no matter how familiar, is completely beyond risk. The 2022 Jif recall was more than a headline. It was a reminder that even the most trusted brands, the foods we've grown up with, can face unseen challenges. The outbreak was contained, the jars were pulled, and production resumed, but the questions it raised still linger. How much do we really know about the safety of the foods we rely on every day? And how quickly can that trust be shaken? In the end, the Jif recall showed that food safety isn't just about what happens in factories or on farms. It's about the confidence we place in the system that feeds us, and once that confidence is broken, it takes far longer to rebuild than it does to lose. A simple jar of peanut butter proved that even our most ordinary comforts can carry extraordinary lessons.